see with a little helicopter toy or a kite? What about a bike? Can you make something out of them? What if you add a bird to the mix? Wilbur and Orville Wright learned from everything, played with everything, talked through different ideas together, built things together, even flew together. I've studied the lives of the Wright brothers and visited the Memorial Center in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, where they constructed and flew the world's first flying machine, what we now call the airplane. With support of friends and family, Wilbur and Orville gained inspiration from knowledge and life's experiences that helped navigate them on their journey to create the first aircraft in history. Despite never graduating high school, both boys loved to read books and to tinker with things. A few influential things and events happened in the brothers' lives that would lead them to designing their plane. When the children were young, they received a gift from their dad, a simple helicopter toy that would, it was much like this one, but had a rubber band on the end, and it would help launch it in the air. And they would launch it over and over again, watching the propellers move as it would soar through the air. When they were in their 20s, they opened a bike shop, and they sold and repaired bikes. They even designed 2 bikes of their own. In 1896, Orville came down with typhoid fever. And when he was sick in bed, he started reading about gliders. Many people were trying to create gliders and flying machines, but they didn't have any success. Wilbur and Orville became fascinated with it. They tried to learn as much as they could about flight. They started studying the flight of different birds. In 1899, Wilbur wrote to the Smithsonian asking for more information. They want to know as much as they could about other designs and their failures so they could create their own aircraft. They wrote to the U.S. Weather Bureau of Washington to find out where would be the best place to build their aircraft. Well, they found out the Outer Banks of North Carolina had good wind and good sand. So in 1900, they settled in Kitty Hawk in the Outer Banks. And that's where they would try to build their plane. Well, they knew that before they could add a motor, they had to successfully fly in a glider. They thought a problem of their predecessors was that it had no equilibrium, like on a bike. So they designed a glider with equilibrium in mind. Despite fixing the equilibrium problem, they still had problem after problem. So they kept a journal every day to keep their ideas and their problems, their failures, and small successes. And as the contemplation of birds, they thought of how they were flying in the air. They changed their wings to be more flexible, so twist and warp. Despite all the fixes that they had, they still were having problem after problem, and they got discouraged, and they had an inhospitable environment. So they went home in 1901 ready to give up. Catherine, their sister, gave them a lot of encouragement while they worked on smaller models in the revolutionary homemade wind tunnel. Wilbur gave a speech to a group of engineers introducing their design for the first time to the public. When he gave that speech, it was the first time that they recognized how far ahead they were in their design and ideas, rather than to their group of experts in their field. Rejuvenated in 1902, they returned back to Kitty Hawk with a new design. Unfortunately, it just went around in circles. One night, Orville came up with an idea to put a tail or rudder on the end of the glider. It worked, and their new design broke a record of going 30 seconds and 600 feet. So excited, they returned back to Ohio to put their motor on it, because they knew that they could put a motor on the glider. If it went without, they could put a motor on it, it would be successful. So they went back to Ohio to build their motor in their bike shop. After it was completed, they transferred it back to Kitty Hawk. December 14th, 1903, the plane was ready, and they flipped a coin to see who would go first. Wilbur won. So he got on and then took off. He turned up too high and overcorrected and crashed into the sand. Fail. After the repairs were done, December 17, 1903, it was Orville's turn. And after the plane warmed up a bit, he got on, and the plane slowly went forward, and once it left the track, it was airborne for 12 seconds. It went 120 feet. They did a few runs that day, with the last one going 852 feet for 59 seconds. It is incredible. It took them 4 years to build. With Wilbur and Orville's inquisitive nature, dedication, and perseverance, they were able to construct and fly the world's first flying machine. Whether it be a bike or a bird, as long as you are willing to learn anything and to dream and to work hard, then you can accomplish anything, just like the Wright brothers.